All right, hey there, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith with an update on what we're seeing from a heat perspective. And I'm not just talking about, it's a hot day outside. This is our next weather segment. We're going to go a little deeper into the longer term trend of it being hotter than average in our area. We're just going to look at some scientific data here. This isn't like a political statement or anything. Just want to talk about what we're seeing, how much warmer than average our temperatures are. So it's definitely warmer. And we'll go ahead and pull up our graphics here. I want to show you what we have going on first. I'll put it up where I can talk to you, and you'll have the graphic on the side of your screen. So I'm going to cut over to that. And I've got a little audio coming up on a monitor there, so it gives us a little bit of feedback. Hopefully that'll improve the audio situation. So let's start out first by talking about what's going on with our temperatures over the year. And January was 0.2 degrees below normal. So basically January was average. After that, our temperatures have been above normal every single month this year. February, March, and April between 2 and 2.5 degrees above normal. May, 4 degrees above normal. June and July above normal. July above normal so far. It's just the 12th. But we've actually had a couple of days near normal that's kind of drugged that average down a little bit. We may see more above average temperatures coming into the early part of next week. So that's definitely something to watch there. And I'm going to get this graphic up full so you can see it a little bit better here. And so yeah, it's been above average, and that's a problem. I mean, we don't need to have hot weather. We already get enough hot weather here in the summertime. And if we look at what's happening on a wider scale, if we look at the global temperatures, everybody talks about, you hear about all this stuff about global warming, but you don't really see any data that supports that claim. And this comes from climate.gov. So this is a governmental website. And what it's saying is that temperatures were below the average of what we've seen between 1900 and 2000 for really the first 30 or 40 years of the century, up to about World War II in 1940. It was a little warmer then, and then we saw some variability kind of right near average. And then we've been in a cycle where things have gotten warmer. And I'm not really getting into the reasons why it's gotten warmer. It's just gotten warmer. And looking at the temperatures, what we've seen lately is running well over 1 degrees Celsius above normal, which is well over 2 degrees Fahrenheit. So the whole Earth is warmer now than what we saw in the year 2000 and what we saw in 1980 and what we even saw in the 1960s and the 1950s. It's just warmer. And so that's something that's definitely happening. There's no disputing that we have warmer temperatures out there. Now, taking a look at the sea surface temperatures, this is what we really want to see. Because, yeah, the temps have been a little bit warmer around here, and the springs have been warmer, and the situation in the summertime a little higher than we'd like. But water temperatures are where it gets to be a problem, because that can cause two issues. To some degree, we're getting sea level rise, but more importantly, this is fuel for stronger tropical systems. Last year, we did not see a really crazy hurricane season, but we had an El Nino pattern. This year we have a La Nina, which means that the upper winds are favorable, plus we have these above average water temperatures. So just like temperatures across the globe are above average, that's also brought up the global ocean temperatures. I mean, it just goes without saying, if temperatures are above normal, that's going to affect the water too. And running about 1 to 1.25 degrees above normal through looks like 2023, and this comes from the EPA. That's the source of this particular graphic. I've got another one here that shows the average sea surface temperatures, and it shows us exactly how much warmer this is than average. And so you're looking at a lot of different lines here. This is a really busy graphic, but what it's showing us is the average is the black line down at the bottom, and that's in degrees Celsius. And then what we've seen lately has either been on the upper end or beyond the average. And in 2023, if you look at the graph there, temperatures running about a solid 1 degree Celsius above normal, right there around 1 maybe a little less than 1 full degree Celsius in 2023. And the water temperatures we had in 2023 were the hottest ever seen in the Atlantic Basin. That's the Gulf, the Caribbean Sea, and the Atlantic. And this is actually for all global ocean temperatures between 60 degrees north and 60 degrees south, I believe. And looks like the source on that is climate. I'll bring it up full so we can see it up a little, climatereanalyzer.org. But if you look at this year, it's hotter than the temperatures were in 2003. So that's how abnormally warm the water temperatures are. And that's, I mean, we saw with more favorable upper level winds, Beryl, the first hurricane of the season, formed in the middle of the Atlantic, which we've never seen happen before this early in the season. And we've never had a storm as strong as Beryl in June or July anytime ever since we've been keeping track of the weather since the late 1800s. So this has been a record-breaking year so far. And we've also seen some systems like Hurricane Michael, and Sally did a little bit too, rapid intensification upon landfall. So we're seeing the warmer water is contributing to the potential for deadlier hurricanes. Not what we would want to see, but it's just a potential issue. So one more thing I want to look at here is where do we stand with those water temperatures right now? And these are actual buoy reports. So again, this is what it's showing up at those buoys. Then the contour underneath it is more based on satellite derived data. So either satellite or buoys, but the buoys are the ground truth reports. These are actual sensors. And if you were looking at this in August or September, you would think, hey, this is about where we would expect to be. Well, the problem is that it's just really early to mid-July, and it's going to get hotter in the Gulf. And right now, water temperatures are in the upper 80s in the Florida Big Bend region and off the mouth of the Mississippi River, and in the upper 80s in the middle of the Gulf. It's that buoy 42,001 is at 87 degrees in the central Gulf, and that is not a good situation there to have water that hot out into the Gulf throughout. If the water temperature is above 80, that can sustain a tropical system. If it's above 82, it can promote a tropical system. But once it starts getting like this, my friend meteorologist Matt Barentine calls it rocket fuel. And so that is a very dangerous situation. Also, what about a little bit further out? Well, you know, the Caribbean, 85, 86 degrees in the northern Leeward Islands, 84 degrees in the central Atlantic. So water temperatures are way ahead of schedule, and as a result, we may see more tropical systems. I also mentioned about the upper level winds, and we've got the La Nina weather pattern, and it creates a trough in the Pacific, so there's higher wind shear, and a ridge in the Atlantic. And when there's a ridge, an upper level ridge, that creates an environment that's more conducive for storm development. It means less wind shear and more potential storms. This year's La Nina has been a little late to get going, but it's starting to kick in now. And so with that, plus the water temperatures, it could be the recipe for a really terrible season. That doesn't mean we get hit, but it means the odds are greater that something comes in the Gulf and heads our way than if we had a season with fewer storms. So definitely we're going to be on alert here at the Fox 10 Storm Tracker Center. And I just wanted to share you some of the data about it. Now, you hear people talking about global warming, global warming. Well, you know, it is getting warmer. Now, the causes of it, that's where there's the controversy. But there's no question that things are warmer than average. And it's a global trend. It is a local trend. I started out with those local numbers, and then we got into a little more about what's happening with sea surface temperatures and different things, and then the wider scale of the whole globe. And you know, the Earth is warmer, so our temperatures are also in that same zone where things are above average. I hope that was a little more informative on what's happening with the warm water temperatures, and that's an update here on Fox 10's Next Weather. Have a great weekend, and maybe go get in that warm Gulf and try and cool off.